So we can get it over here, and we can change this track's name over here by double clicking on this track, and we can set it to, for example, bass or anything which you want. And then to add another track, you can right click and add track, or you can click on this button over here, add track button. So we'll click on that. And now if you drag in the timeline, you will see that we can still see the animation in the first bass track, as you can see. And that is happening because we don't have any animation in this first track. And when a track doesn't have any animation, it is disabled, and then you will still see the animations in the tracks below it. So on this track we can drop down a jump animation, and then you will see that the jump animation plays, but you won't see any animation from the this bass track which we have over here. If you want to see that animation which we have on this bass track, you can either click on this solo button which we have over here, the star button on this bass track, and that will make this all the other tracks which we have disabled, and only this bass track will be enabled, and you will still see this animation. Or you can also disable this track using this button. So you will disable it, and then as you can see, you can again see this animation in the bass, and we also have this button for locking. So for example, since we have done all of the edits and on the animation clips over here on the bass track, so we can lock that. And after you lock a track, you can't select it or move the animation clips inside that. Now let's focus on this track, the new track which we created over here. We can rename this track to jumping, and that will be the name of that. And now you know how to cycle this, so we can just click on this and then cycle options, and we want to set the cycle joint. We'll set it to cog, and then we'll cycle it for the duration of the lower animation of the lower track. And then you will see that the Electra will keep jumping, as you can see, and that looks great. But what we want to do is we want to blend it with the previous track which we have over here, the bass track. So to do that, as you can see over here, we have this drop down menu which sets the blend method. So it is currently set on local, which just means that it will blend the local space joint transformations. You can also set it on additive or global or replace. Additive means that it will add to the previous joint transformations. Global means that it will blend to the global transformations, and replace means that it will completely replace it. So we can currently keep it on local, and to get it blending with this previous track, we have to set the weight of this track to something lower. And this streak which you see over here is the weight of this track, and it is so like this because the weight can be dynamic over frames, and that means that it can be animated. So for example, we can currently set it to something like 0.5. So you can do that using this slider, and we will set it to 0.5, and you will see that now it starts blending with this animation which we have over here below it. You can set it to, for example, 0.3, and now the influence of this bass track will get even more. as you can see. And if the weight is 0, then it will completely it will be like disabling at this track, so it will completely do what it does in the base track below it. But as I said before, this weight parameter can be animated over frame, and that's why we have this visualized as a streak over here. So to do that, you have to alt click on this streak. So for example, over here, and that will set a keyframe over on that frame where you set this, and then you can set another one. So for example, over here, and that will set another keyframe on that frame, and then you can dynamically change the value of the weight at that frame by moving it up or down. So for example, you can set another one and get it above, and over here we can get it below again. And now you will see that on these frames it follows the straight one, and then it gets back to the jumping animation, and then the weight decreases again, and base drag starts influencing again, and then it gets to this constant value, as you can see. And now we can also change this blending methods. For example, we can set it to global, and that won't change it much. You can also set it to additive, and now as you can see it adds to that animation, and it looks a little bit weird. And you can also set it on replace, and that is just like making this track solo, which means that it will replace all the tracks beneath it. So as you can see, now it just does the jump, and there is no influence of this bass track even when this weight is low. And by the way, you can also set that which joint a track can influence using this button, this bone button over here, or you can also use this parameter window. So you can go above, and for this jumping track you can select the joints which it influences. And over here, for example, we can select some of these. Let's only select the arm ones, then we can select all of these. So you can just filter it using this by typing over here. You can filter the joints, and then you can click on accept. And then we want to solo it, and we will set the blend mode back to local, and let's just remove all the keyframes from this weight by clicking on this track over here or in the hierarchy, and then you can control plus shift plus click on this weight parameter to remove these channels, and then you can set it back to 1. Now you will see that only these arm joints are being moved, as you can see, and all of the other joints are staying in place. What you can also do is you can specify a blend parent. So for example, we can select the chest or the cog one. Let's select the chest one, see chest control, and now you will see that it will use in that joint as a blend parent, and now it will not go forward in these frames, it will revolve around it, as you can see. If we play it, and that can sometimes be useful. So we can remove this solo mode and frame to the timeline. By the way, when you set keyframes on the weight parameter for a track, you can also change the smoothing mode or the interpolation mode for this. So for example, you can set these keyframes, and as you can see, it does this default Bezier interpolation between this. That's why it is looking smooth, but you can change this by clicking on this track either on the hierarchy or over here, And then on over here on this weight parameter, you have to shift click on this weight parameter, and that will open this animation editor. And over here you can change the method it uses for the interpolation. So for example, we can select this, and then we can, for example, change this to linear, or maybe cubic. Where is it? Cubic, and that will also work. Or we can just keep it on Bezier, and then you can change these handles, as you can see, and that also changes over here. So that's a simple thing you can do. Let's reset this joints and also this blend parent by control plus middle clicking on that. And now you'll see this working as we want. So when at that 72th frame, it starts to go into blend into this base track. And now we will quickly see that how we can manage multiple characters in this motion mixer. So for the second character, we'll use the new test geometry which got added in the Houdini 21, which is the test geometry auto. And it is a very high quality model. So we can add sorts, and what we want to output is the apex scene. And we will keep the packed folder contents to proxy so that it contains a proxy character, so that we don't have to manage this high quality character which can make our viewport rendering slower. And we will also add sorts, and now we'll add the animation clips just like we did for the Electra. So apex scene, add animation, and then connect it to this. For the character, we'll select the test geometry auto, and the animation clip name will be for example, hand move. Now we can add a scene animate and then connect it to this, and we'll move the hand keyframe on the first frame. On the other frame, we'll set it over here. Let's move it on the XY plane and rotate it, and then we will copy this keyframe on the first frame and then paste it over here so that it gets back to that position. So this is the animation. You can reposition the keyframe so that it looks better. So it looks good. And by the way, the reason behind why I didn't switch to the animations, because by default when we have only one animation clip, which we have over here, the hand move one, you will see that on the animation layers it doesn't even give the option to select any of these, because it automatically set the animation on that clip. So this can be animate to, and then we can add this character to this scene. So we can drop down a apex scene, add character, and plug it over here, and connect this animate to this character files input. And we want to turn on this packed character option so that it adds the .car.char, and as you can see now it is added. If you drop down a null over here and see this in the directory to see the packed folders, you will see that we have this electra.char and also this test geometry auto1.char. But one thing you will see that we don't have the animation added over here. As you can see, we add this hand move animation over here. You take a look at it over here, hand move.clip. We don't have it over here, as you can see, because this one only adds the .char folder and not the animation folder contents. So what we have to do after this is apex scene copy animation, and then we can connect it over here. Can connect this second input to this animate to. We can add a pin to these wires to make it look better by clicking between these, and then you can also merge this so that it looks better. And now the clip which we want to copy from is this hand move dot clip, and then the clip which we want to copy to is the same as this one. And now you will see if we have a null and connect this, you will see that we have hand move dot clip over here with the character data. So now we can click back to the motion mixer and let it load, and let's get back to the store bars. Let's turn off the store bars, so L plus Control plus S, and now you will see that we already have this test geometry auto over here, and also the Electra, and we also have it in the clips menu, as you can see. So if we remove this scene folder, which contains all of the animation clip, we have this Electra folder and the test geometry auto folder, and that name is also visualized over here. If you don't want to see these labels on these, you can click on this this main root motion mixer in the hierarchy, and then over here in the mixer properties, you can click on this labels to turn it off, but we do want that right now. And now, for example, currently the Electra does move, but if we add a animation clip from the auto test geometry, you will see that it doesn't work. As you can see, if I drag it over this, as you can see, it is the correct thing, hand move, but it still doesn't work because we didn't specify the auto character in the track, as you can see. So if you click on this track on the hierarchy or over here, you will see that we have this characters option and we didn't specify the auto character over here. Or you can also specify it over here by clicking on this bone button. So what you can do is minimize this one. You can control plus click on both of these, the Electra and the test geometry auto, and now you will see that it works. But usually what you want to do is that you would generally create another track for different characters. So for example, we can create another track, and right now we have a lot of tracks, so we can optimize the space by minimizing this, the weight for these ones by clicking on this arrow mark over here, and that will minimize it, as you can see. And now we'll rename this track to auto track, and clicking on this bone button, we'll set the character type character to this geometry auto, only that. And then what we'll do, as you can see, currently the track is disabled because we don't have any clip, so we can add the hand move clip over here. And now, as you can see, the Electra also moves, and we also move the test geometry auto's hand. And you might be thinking that this time, why didn't it override the Electra's animation, which is happening below over here, as you can see. And the reason behind that is that these Electra, these tracks which are transforming the Electra test geometry, they are not transforming the auto test geometry, and that's why they are separate from this auto track. And now you can just cycle it by setting the cycle joint to the arm IK target or any joint from the arm, and then that will cycle. And now we'll see that how we can add effects to our motion mix track, and there can be external effects which you can apply to your animation track, and they will modify how your track behaves, and you can also change the influence of those effects. So for example, we can add a animate effect on this jumping track. So we'll select this track to add a effect on it, and then click on this add animate effect button. And after you click it, you will see that on the hierarchy view in the jumping track, we have this animate effect and that clip, jumping clip over here, and we also have it visualized over here. So we can minimize these other tracks so that we only see this one, and we can also minimize the weight, and this is the animate effect. So what we can do is we can set it to replace mode so that we don't get any influence by these lower tracks, and now we can clearly see the effect. So this is the effect which got added, the animate effect, and what this effect does is that it adds a animation on top of this track. So for example, you can click on this and you will see the options for it, or the parameters on the parameter window. You can set the blend, and you can also enable and disable this effect, or you can either click on this button. And to actually animate this using this animate effect, you have to click on this button, and that will make you enter the animate space. And don't worry about this character. So what we can do now is that we can for example animate some controls. For example, this chest controls, can select all of these, and we can set a keyframe or at the 38th frame, and another frame on the another keyframe on the 48th frame, and then we will just rotate it in the y-axis of in the joints local transform. Rotate it a lot so that we can see, and now as you can see it goes like this, and then it just rotates. So to get back from this animate state, or this effects animate state, you have to press escape, and now you are back to the motion mixer editor, and you can change the parameters for that scene animate state over here, the animation state parameters which you usually see on the on a scene animate node. So now you will see that we still have that animation on our applied on our track, as you can see. You can also change the influence of that effect, and it can also be dynamic, just like the weight over here. So for example, you can set this keyframes. We don't want that right now. You can delete this, and we can Control plus Shift clicks on this and set it back on 1. And just like this, you have a smooth effect over here. So you can add that, and that just smooths your animation so that any sudden changes get smoothed. And you can change influence for each and every effect, as you can see, and the animation will be smoother now, but it will be slower, as you can see. We don't have any high frequency animation or anything like that, so we don't get any smoothing or anything, but you will see if there are sudden changes in a joints channel in your animation, that will be smoothed out. So we can delete this one, and you can also use the retime effect, which adjusts the speed of the track, and it can be also be dynamic. So you can set the mode over here. If you click on this retime effect over here, or in the this hierarchy over here, you will see that we have options for this. You can set retime by frame, or by time, or by speed, or by holding. So for example, we can set it to by speed, or by time, and that will use in this $T to indicate the time. And then you can multiply this to some values to make it faster. For example, we can set it on speed, and we can set it to 2, and now the speed is 2 times more, as you can see. But you can change the influence of this effect, as I said, and that will change the speed dynamically, as you can see. It changes the speed and then goes back to that speed. So we can delete this one too, and you can also use this last transform effect, which just changes the pivot of this track. So for example, if we go to the operation mode, if we enable the handles by clicking by hitting enter, and then if you click on this, so the transform handle for the track effects, you will see that if you click on it again, we can't see it because it is not enabled in the operation menu. So if we click on it again, we'll go back to the view mode and then get back to the handles, so that hopefully we get to see this handles. As you can see, we can see it now. Maybe that was a bug. And now you can just keep it on set the influence to 1, and then we can change this pivot of the entire track. And for example, now it jumps over here, over there, and you can also change the influence of this over time so that you can make it feel more dynamic. As you can see, if we get this over here and here, now you will see that it goes below and then up to back to the pivot which we set up. And this is the transform effect. And now we'll delete that too. And now the last thing we want to learn is that how we can bake this animation out. So if you click on this main root control of this motion mixer to see the motion mixer parameters, or you can also change it over here on the motion mixer parameter over here. You can set the output mode over here. So for example, you can set it to skeleton, and then the output will be skeleton, or shapes, or controls, which will show the rig controls in the apex mode, and the control shapes, which are the shapes assigned to those controls, and the motion clip can also output that. And what this will do is that it will set the output for type for this. So for example, if you drop down a null over here while keeping this this output mode to shape, so that we get the shape as an output. If we plug down a null over here and turn on stove bars on the rig tree, you will see that we have this electrachar base.shape, the labels.shape, which I don't think has anything in it, and this auto base.shape, which contains the animated shape. So if we unpack it using a unpack node or a unpack folder, whichever you want, and then if we mirror click on it, as you can see, now we have original polygons. So now, as you can see, they are original polygons, and we have the animations, and the animation outputted as a polygonal mesh. So this is one way how you can output the motion mixer outputs. But what you can also do is bake the animations which it does in the track into a scene animate node or a stash node, which you can animate again, because that will have all of the characters and stuff, but it will also have the animation which it does in the motion mixer. So to do that, we'll click on this bake tracks option over here, this one, and then there are many modes which you can use to bake your motion mixer. The first option is the bake into track. What it does is that it will create another track for all of these tracks, and that will contain all of the animations and the characters for them. So you can try this, but we don't want this one. What we want to do is we want to bake to stash, and you can set the stash node path. It can also be a node which you already have, or the baker will create that for you. We can enable this track blending and keep existing animation, so that we have the animation clips which we have before, and we also have the track blending. And then we will hit the bake button, and as you can see, the log baking motion mixer to stash shop created this. It detected this motion mixer, one clip selected. Did we select one clip? And then baking succeeded. Maybe it only has this one clip. Let's hope that it is not the case. And then if we click on this one, no, that's not the case. We have all of the animations over here. And what you can also do over here now is that we can drop down a scene animate node and we can continue animating over it. As you can see, we have all of these animations with the track blending. And what it can also do is it can directly bake it to a scene animate node. So we can also do that by clicking on this and bake to scene animate node and say click on this bake button. And as you can see in the log again, baking succeeded. So now you will see that we have this one over here, which is connected to this our previous input, and it has all of the animations to it. If we keep it on the animate state, you will see that it has all of these animations. Currently only have this one animation because we probably selected it, so we can do it again, or we can just continue with this stash picking mechanism. So we can select this back. And one another way to get the output of this is by using the motion mixer fetch node. So we can drop down a motion mixer fetch, and then we can drop this to the mixer path, and then set the display flag on this. And over here now, you can over here select the output mode. So for example, we want to get the shapes, and you can also select the character which you want to output. For example, if we only want to output the Electra, we can also do that. And you can also select the key of any track, so it only outputs that. But we want to output everything, so we won't select anything on that. And now you just have to unpack this, and you will have it as original geometry, as you can see. And you can change the character which you want to use, as you can see. And if you want it to be in a scene animate shop, then you can either bake it to a stash node and then use a scene animate node after that, or you can directly bake it to a scene animate shop. So now you know how to use the motion mixer and how you can get the output of it. So this is it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then like this video and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.